Not well.
Oh.
And then
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, so how many fifth graders do we have in here? Are there two or three? Two. Okay. So put your hand.
1/3.
1/3 grades. 2 fifth grades, 1/3.
1/3 grade, 2 fifth graders.
Correct.
So the third graders, raise your hand. Okay. And then the one, Mr. Shepard's fifth grade, raise your hand. And then the other fifth grade, raise your hand. Okay. All right. So, tell me what the difference between third grade and fifth grade is. Different grades. But what else makes you guys different? You learn different stuff. My name is Mr. Wojtovich. And like Mr. Shepard said, I'm from outside of Philadelphia. And I am the founder of the Children's Alopecia Project. So I am here today because one of our CAP kids, which is what we call children under 18 that have alopecia, is in the school. Ryan, where are you? Ryan has alopecia. Anybody ever think about, why does he have bald spots on his head? How many times did you think about asking him? But you were kind of nervous about doing that because you thought maybe he had something kind of serious? Like, what kind of things do you think that people that have hair loss would have? Cancer. Yeah. And you never want to go up to somebody who might have cancer and say, hey, why are you bald? Because cancer is pretty much the worst thing that anybody could ever have. You wouldn't want somebody to feel bad about that. So, alopecia is an incurable autoimmune disease. And it's big words. But autoimmune basically means it's your body. You have an immune system that protects us when we're sick and hurt and when we have a disease. And sometimes that immune system doesn't work the way it's supposed to. When kids have alopecia, what happens is their immune system attacks the hair follicles. And if you look at your hand, on the back of your hand, you'll see those little holes where the hair is coming out of. Those little holes in your skin are called hair follicles. And what alopecia does, it paralyzes it, and the hair just falls out. So if you think about a pot with a plant in it, and you have soil in the pot, that plant is staying in that pot. It's not going anywhere. But if you turn it upside down, the dirt will fall out, and then what else will fall out? The plant. Well, if you look at your hair follicle like a pot, and the hair like a plant, it has no soil, because it's paralyzed and the hair just falls out. It doesn't hurt. It's not contagious. Look at all these hairstyles out here, and guess what? The guys are styling, the girls look beautiful. So we all love our hair. If you look at the commercials, everyone loves their hair. And what do you think happens to most of the kids when their hair falls out? If you get teased. And a lot of times they don't feel really good about themselves because they don't look like their friends anymore. Or they don't look like they want to look like. Like, when I was a younger man, I used to have a lot of hair. Anybody know what a mullet is? I was the king of the mullets. I had perfect curls. It was long. It was short here on the side. My hair was parted down the middle. In the 1980s, I was the man. Well, guess what? Now I'm bald, and I did it the old-fashioned way. So over 25 years, I lost my hair. And it was kind of hard in the beginning. But guess what? I don't really think about it anymore. It's actually easier. So, what happens with kids when they lose their hair? They're picked on, and they're bullied. And what's worse, they're ignored. I think ignoring somebody is even worse than picking on or bullying them, just because they look different. And that's why I ask you questions about third and the 2 fifth grades, about are you the same? because no one's the same. Every single kid in here is different. There's not one thing that makes you, even if you're twins, you're still different. So there's no one that can ever say anything to anyone else, because you would have to say to everyone on earth. So if a kid is short or tall or skinny or big, if they have glasses, if they're dark skin or light skin, everyone's different. There's not one person that's the same. Yes?
I have a problem, and it's kind of like that, but I actually pull it.
Oh, yes.
Problem, and it's called TTN.
I know.
And I pulled my eyeliner and eyebrows out, and what my mom does every morning, she puts eyeliner and eyeshadow on me to make it look like it's real, because I don't want anybody who could look at me.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole different reason why you do that, but it's just as important that nobody would want to be made fun of because you're different. Because I can look at everyone here and I can find a reason to make fun of anyone in here. It's not hard to make fun of someone. It's actually very easy, which is why it's so horrible. Because you shouldn't ever think about a reason to make fun of someone. Because it's really easy. And what she just said was actually, for a third grader, that was very brave. And I think that a lot of times when we have something that's different, when there's something that's different about us, for us to admit it and say, guess what? This is what I have that's different. And I'm not ashamed of it because I'm still the person I am. That's more important than being what you think is perfect. Because there's no such thing as perfect. No one is perfect, but everyone is different. So even if the people that are listening to me right now are thinking, oh, geez, you're full of it. You know, what you're talking about doesn't make any sense. You're probably thinking that way because you already know that you have things that aren't perfect. Because the only way that you can get through it is to make a joke of it and not take it seriously. Because I can tell you stories about kids all over the country that are tortured every day because of not having hair. That are so bad and so alone that they want to wear a hat and they're not allowed to because the school won't let them. Or there's a little boy in Fresno, California. He was a real popular kid. And he lost his hair. And then he got picked on. Then his hair grew back. But it only grew back on the top. It didn't grow back on the sides or the back. And this school has a zero tolerance policy on mohawks. So he had to shave his head. He didn't want to. So the parents were fighting. And they brought me in. And before I could get to California, the school actually shaved his head against his will and against the parents' will. Now, teachers are supposed to be smarter than the kids that they're teaching. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So zero tolerance is kind of a silly thing when it comes to a human being, especially when they can't control it. That little boy was different, just like every other kid in that school.